What's going on, everybody? You're tuned in to another episode of Off the Yard. And as always, I'm your host, Big Lance. And today we're talking about MS-13. We got some new developments on the case that just popped off down here in Northern Virginia. So, without further ado, Gladiator Gang, you up to bat, baby. Let's go.
To Dale City, Virginia. That is the scene of what's being described as a major operation
head of
this
the
morning
East Coast,
to
one of the three leaders,
gang activity in Northern Virginia. Here's what we know about
the arrest this morning was in Dale City in Prince William County, right here in Northern Virginia, one of the best areas in America. And it was one of the top leaders of MS-13 living here.
You take it to the max every single day. You put your safety on the line. You put your selfless desires ahead of going home and seeing your families at night because you care more about safeguarding our schools and our community.
All of our agents were safe this morning. All of our law.
Welcome to Gladiator School. Hell of an intro, right? Very suspenseful. Man, what's happening, everybody? Gladiator Gang, what's going on? Want to shout out to everybody that's been rocking with me for a while. Ups and downs, good and bad, all things, man. And I'm finally in a good place and, somewhere I can sit down and make these videos and kick out some more content. Want to talk about this guy that they busted in Northern Virginia. I forget the actual name, man. Apologize for that. Edwin or Eduardo or something like that. But it's funny to me that they always say when they bust these guys or when they make it headline news, oh, he is the leader of the East Coast, or he's the leader of this. I'm going to tell you, every single one of them is the leader. And I don't think that, I think what it is more of like it's more of a political thing. It's in the push to immigration that they're doing right now, the mass immigration. Now, think about this. They busted this dude. He's 24 years old, right? Supposedly leader of MS-13 on the East Coast, and he's crashing at his mama's house in a spare bedroom. Doesn't make sense to me. So with that being said, I want to look at it. Quick history lesson on MS-13, Martyr Salvatrucha, or as it's also known as. We're going to go back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? This is when the Civil War in El Salvador was going on, right? In all those Central American countries, or areas like Nicaragua, and those areas were going to war with each other. Now, because of this war, there was a lot of displaced people. A lot of people started flooding the United States. And there was like I said, mass flow of immigration into our country. Now, a lot of these people ended up in East Los Angeles, the San Fernando Valley, but those areas are predominantly ran by Mexican gangs. Now, that's why to this day there is a rivalry, a bitter rivalry between 18th Street and MS. The original MS-13 was actually called the Martyr Salvatrucha Stoners, I think. And they basically listened to heavy metal and punk music, smoked pot, and hung out. Now, as time went on, they started to get incarcerated a lot, right? They're breaking laws, they're going to jail in our country. Now, they would get shipped back over to their country. But while they were over here, the clique started in Los Angeles. And there is dispute, and there's always going to be disagreement on the wheres, the whats, the whys, and all this. But basically, they were having to click up to protect themselves against the other gangs. It's the way it is out there. I'm not from California. I'm not even out west. I'm all the way on the other side of the river. And it's very different over there than where it is where I'm at. I myself was a part of an organization. I myself have, delved into a lot of these political conversations with these guys, right? I've dealt with a lot of MS-13. Now, throughout the course of my, I'd say, criminal employment for years and years and years, I met a lot of different people from a lot of different demographics and a lot of different parts of life. I tell you, I have never met a group more savage and volatile and zero fucks given than these guys. Their whole pretense in life is to just be the most ruthless gang in the world. And they're doing a pretty damn good job of it. So, when the Civil War ended, I think it was in the 90s, right? You know, a lot of these guys were still in our country. They were still in America. Most of them illegally. And they started to make a lot of noise later on with, you know, situations like Brenda Paz. I had a channel called Off the Yard War Stories, and I did a story about Brenda Paz. Brenda Paz was a member of MS-13, a female who was dating a guy that was also MS-13. And when she got pregnant by this guy, but she turned state's evidence and was going to testify against all of them. So the feds put her up, right, in witness protection. And she was telling the feds, she was debriefing, as we call it, basically divulging all the information that she could come up with to get these guys life sentences. Well, through the course of this, I guess Brenda got bored, right? Brenda gets bored, and she doesn't want to sit in WITSEC no more. She literally contacts the same individuals that she's getting ready to testify against, that she's worn wires against, that she has pretty much told everything to the feds. She's reaching out and contacting him and partying with him once again. Now, this is a recipe for destruction. Like, where in her thought process, right, did this make any sense? Doesn't make sense. And it didn't work out. It didn't turn out good for her. Did it? It turned out really bad for her. They knew that she was testifying. They knew what she was going to do. So they lured her to a park, I believe, in Alexandria or Arlington. It was one of those. And they mutilated this girl. Pregnant. That's terrible. Speaking of these gentlemen, I was actually incarcerated with two of them. Let me tell you a story about that real quick. So I believe one of them's name was Demon or something along those lines. Man, this was a long time ago. We were at a facility called Sussex 1 State Prison in Virginia. It's a level 5. I was young. I mean, this was like late 90s, early 2000s, I believe. We were all kids, basically, man. We're basically kids. And the way they had it set up back then, I don't know what it's like now. So a lot of people get in comments, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This was 20-some years ago. Okay, so give me a break. I'm almost 50. They ran a top tier, bottom tier split rotation is what they called it. Basically, you only come out for about an hour, if you're lucky, a day at these facilities, level 5s. The rest of the time, you're locked in a cell. The top tier would come out first for 30 minutes to an hour. The bottom tier would follow suit. These guys were on my tier, right? We come out for rec. I'm at the microwave. Always a line at the microwave, right? And when you have that line at the microwave, sorry guys, 1 second. When you have that line at the microwave, it's a respect thing, man. You know, it's a respect thing to, you know, not cut in front of somebody. People have lost their lives, have been sent to the upper room for cutting in line. People have been scarred and disfigured and maimed as a result of being disrespectful in prison. Now, I'm standing in line and two of them cut in front of me. I speak on it. Yo, man, I'm in line. And that being said, as I'm waiting in line to get this hot water for my soup and whatever else I'm going in to eat, I speak on it and I say, look, man, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. They get shitty and proceed to go ahead and microwave their water. So we get to going back and forth, right? But right at that time, they call rec. So they say everybody lock down. So you got about 30 seconds to lock down before they start shooting rubber bullets at your ass, right? As we're going in the cell, I look back and I'm like, it is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And I just turn my back and go in my cell, man, right? Ain't no sense in starting nothing, man, because it's going to mess the next tier's rec up. And you don't want to be disrespectful to the next tier because they've been in the cell all day. If we get to fighting out there, the whole pod gets locked down. They might have money they're trying to get. They might have things they're trying to do, phone calls they're trying to make. Well, as I'm sitting in the cell, my homie from upstairs, he comes down. He's like, look, I want to show you some pictures, right? They let the top tier out. We can, blah, blah, blah. Well, as he's showing me these pictures of his daughter, she was about 18 months old, man. He was a young kid, 19, 20 at the most. Was going home, man, in about a year. Whenever we got to arguing in the last wreck, they hid. The COs usually don't, they're not going to count every single person most of the time. They're doing this so many times a day, they just walk by and look. Well, these dudes, they're little guys. They jumped in these big trash cans we had in the pod. CO did his quick round. Top tier, come out. He's trying to let everyone out so he can go back to doing what he's doing. I see it out the corner of my eye. Now, I want you to imagine this dude is standing there, right? And we're trying to talk through the crack of the door. He can't really hear me. I can barely hear him. There's people out talking. They let the whole tier out. So I'm like, yo. And he's looking, he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. He doesn't understand. I'm trying to tell him these two guys have now jumped out of the trash can. They're on their way to him. They couldn't get me, so they're going to get him. I had to sit there and watch him boys jump on my buddy who had just had a baby girl, who was going home in a year. And I watched him poke him, because I can't say the other word, but they were hitting him so hard, you could hear the tip of the knife hitting going through him and into the cement. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I mean, they had to hit him 30 times. And the whole time he's standing there, he's trying to reach for me to help him. But I can't. This didn't have nothing to do with gang politics, man. This was an argument over hot water in a microwave. Now, this is 20-some years ago. I've let a lot of things go in my life, in my time. I've made a lot of mistakes in the institutions, in the penitentiaries. And this is one thing I just can't let it go. I see it in my dreams. I've dealt with it. I've been to therapy over it. And this is not the only person I've seen this type of thing happen to. But I think what got me the most was, I mean, the last thing that kid saw was my face. He was, was looking in my eyes. And all I could do was I said, it's okay, bro. It's okay. I'm sorry. People do things in this world, man, for stupid reasons. They do things in this world for stupid reasons, man. And you don't think about it, I guess, in the big scheme of things until you really sit back and reflect. And when things are happening, life is what happens while you're making other plans or while you're doing other things. Life is happening. And most of the time, it's in retrospect that we look back at life and say, damn, man, I wish I just wouldn't have done that, or I would have done something different if I could go back in time. That's unfortunate. He was a good kid, man. He didn't deserve that. Wasn't even his beef. He didn't even see it coming. He didn't even see it coming, man. You son of a bitch. The worst part about it even then was that they looked at me and smiled while they did it. There are people in this world, you guys, that are legit psychopaths. Doesn't matter what clique you're a part of. Doesn't matter who you roll with. Me, if you're a psychopath, you're a psychopath. Now, later on down the road, there would be multiple other individuals from this organization that I was cool with. This wasn't an organizational thing. I didn't hold a grudge on the whole team because of a couple players. Something else I want to stress, man, is that just because you are a part of an organization, or just because, people are always guilty by association, right? Guilty by association. You hang with them, that's you too. But it's not. Sometimes people join organizations because they have to. They don't have a choice. And sometimes they do have a choice. Most time they're not. But sometimes they don't. And when they don't, what are you really supposed to do? Do you think you think as one person you can fight the whole system? There's two systems in the penitentiary, theirs and ours. Unfortunately, they have little to no control over what goes on outside of their checks and their counts. They don't know what's going on in their prison. They never do. The administration, the COs, and the guards are stupid. For real. Most of them are stupid. They have barely a high school education. They couldn't make it as a real cop, so they go and they be COs. A lot of them, not all of them. And I'm not gonna go against what I just said and go against and say they're all bad because of a few bad apples, because that's not true. There's a couple cool COs. There's a couple intelligent people, but then for the most part, no. They have no idea what we're doing. It's smoke and mirrors, man. It's always smoke and mirrors. This organization that we're talking about, they're not somebody you want to go against. They're not somebody that you want on your bad side. You don't want to be on their bad side. And if you do get on their bad side, you better try to make it right. I've known guys that were actually good buddies of mine. I played chess with one of their actual leaders every day for a very long time, almost a year straight. And I learned a lot from him. I just started my career as a organizational member, and I learned a lot from that dude. He was a very humble dude. He's about 145 pounds soaking wet, and very quiet and soft-spoken, but, multiple people have gone from his, and he doesn't care. He's never going home, so what's he got to lose? Unfortunately, though, this mindset, this is the problem I think that President Trump and a lot like citizens are having, is that mindset is out here now. So what these individuals have set out to do, they have done. They have struck fear into the hearts of a whole entire nation, not only our nation, but many other nations, pretty much the world, man. Think about that. They did what they set out to do, and they're going to continue to do it. They're not going to be able to stop them. Now, they have a prison they just built. I don't know, I'm sure you guys have seen it if you follow this type of content. It's a prison in El Salvador where it houses nothing but MS, and it is one of the most treacherous prisons I've ever seen. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do a video on this prison, but there's been a couple already. So that being said, go check it out if you haven't seen the video yet. These guys are it's like a big cell with like 20 some guys in each cell, and they're not allowed out ever. They come out for like 30 minutes a day to stretch. No phone, no mail, nothing. It's just in that cell, nothing. You get no property. That's prison, bro. So my advice, right? Taking somebody who's been there. I've been a gangbanger. I've done all that stuff, man. I've done things in my life that I can't take back. I've seen things in my life that I can't unsee. And it's changed me. It changed the dynamic of my personality, and it made me different. I don't think like a lot of y'all. I don't feel like a lot of y'all. I've had to really, really callous my heart in a lot of ways. But I'm learning how to do that. And as you see when I was telling the story, it comes out sometimes now, and I'm happy about that. I want to feel. I don't want to be a cold individual, man. And when you get to a point in life where that's what you are, and you can dress up like every day. You can act like a gangster. And you can do this for a very long time. And if you do it for long enough, man, you're going to wake up one day and say, you know what, that's what I am now. Ain't no going back, dude. Ain't no going back. You know, you don't get to say, oh, I'm gonna, it don't work like that. I love you guys, man. And I just wanted to tap in because this is a story that it kind of hits home for me. It is really close to where I live at too, where they busted this guy. And the DOJ has now, they're fast tracking him to get on out of here. They're gonna send him back to El Salvador. So he must got some type of juice. But do I think that he's like a leader? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think the narrative is going to get pushed in a certain way, but every single time, if you look online, every single time they have a capture, he's the leader. A lot of chiefs, no Indians. But, you know, like I said, this is not a shot at them, at y'all who are a part of this organization at all. I don't want to smoke. But, you know, if you're a youngster and you're getting swayed, think about the life choices you make, man, because you get to a point where every choice that you make will affect you as an adult. And these are big decisions, man, you make in life. Be careful. Please be careful. You know, and to the citizens that live in this area, I think that there are some questions that need to be answered. Like, I think that they're scared. They're terrified, actually. I've talked to a few of them. They're terrified. Stay out the way. You know, not everyone is a monster that looks and dresses up like one, but there are some hidden in the shadows. So, until next time, man. Hey, real quick. Next video, I'm doing a video on Brooke Shields, man, and what happened to her. You guys know the story? For those of you that do, sorry, I just found out about it. But for y'all that don't, wait till you hear this shit. And real quick also, man, I got to give some shout out here because I know I've shown you the t-shirt, but this is one of the jackets that I was talking about, right? This is the Off the Yard Letterman. This is the other guy. And we have, this is really cool, man. And I got to shout out my girl Brandy, man, for making these. Baby, you are a beast. She designed these, and she's the one putting in a lot of the work. She's going to be in charge of, you know, the hats and the shirts and everything. So if you are interested, please, please, please leave it in the comments down below, and I will try to get back to you. I'm going to start going in there, because you know I don't read the comments anymore, very rarely, because of this, so many trolls. But this is really happening, guys. We have these posters that we're doing. Couple of different things, man. Nothing crazy. We're just getting started, but we're doing everything. All right, so we're not going through Teespring. I'm not gonna go. I don't want to do that anymore. They charge extremely too much. And this jacket is actually I think it's a large. We're gonna raffle it off, guys. So as you guys know, we'll show you two one more time. It's really a cool jacket, man, for real. But I'm getting ready to go have surgery. I was diagnosed with stage 2 bladder cancer a while back, and although I did chemo, and although it didn't show up on my last scan, any cells, more than likely there are some left, is what they're saying. So I had a couple options. It was going to be radiation, or it was going to be, let's do the surgery. And the surgery is pretty serious surgery. There's nothing I'm going to be laid up for a while. So anything I can do to try to make some extra ends is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to raffle this off. And the way I'm going to do it is, and I know I'm going to catch hell for it, man, but I am going to drop a Cash App and a PayPal, Venmo, all the things, and we're going to do, you know, like a $2 raffle ticket or something like that. And once we get to a certain amount, I'm going to do it for probably run it for about a month or so. Once we get to a certain amount that, you know, is tangible, we're going to raffle it off and give that jacket away. Maybe by then we'll have some other things too that we can do, maybe some t-shirts and things like that. Maybe do 10 or 15 giveaways, man, because I think that you guys deserve it. I've been, you know, it's been an up and down roller coaster with the channel, and a lot of y'all are my friends at this point. So you guys deserve to get free stuff, and I want to make sure that we get this out there. Please share the videos, like If you're new, hit the subscribe button, man. All those things. And till next time, man. Much love to the Gladiator Gang. Salute to all the A1s from day one, man. And as always, stay up, stay out, stay positive, and stay sucker free, baby. Let's go.